very good evening to all our viewers. You're watching Primetime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Pirojana. Before we head into your stories in detail, let's start off with a look at your headlines for tonight.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi declares open a new airport in Kushinagar. First flight arrives from Sri Lanka. Buddhism was India's greatest gift to Sri Lanka, says Minister Nano Fertilizer while calling on Indian Prime Minister. Liquid nitrogen nano urea fertilizer imported from India to be applied to Sri Lankan fields from tomorrow. SLPP MPs at loggerheads with SLFP MPs.
දිව දෙකේ ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය පිළිබඳ විනයානුකූල ක්‍රියාදාමයක් වහාම ආරම්භ කරන්න.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena attends Poya Day ceremony with the opposition leader. Minister of Education confident of teachers and students attending schools from tomorrow. Teacher trade unions refuse to attend school.
කවුරු මොනවා කිව්වත් අපි 21 වර්ජනේ නිර්තිනවා 22 අපි ඉස්කෝලේ යන්නේ අපි 25 ඉස්කෝලේ යනවා.
News First headlines. Main sponsor.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
Starting off with your top story for tonight, a new international airport was declared open in Kushinagar, India today, which is incidentally where Parinirvana of Lord Buddha took place. Our Sri Lankan Airlines flight arrived at Kushinagar Airport this morning with Venerable Pharaohs on board, marking the first international airline arrival at the new airport.
A delegation including 111 Buddhist monks landed at the Kushinagar airport on board Sri Lankan Airlines flight 10147. Minister Namal Rajapaksa, State Ministers D.V. Chanaka and Sisira Jayakodi also make up the delegation. The delegation also consists of Anunayak of the Askiri chapter, Most Venerable Vendaruwe Upali Thero and 95 Theros representing 3 sects. The inaugural flight also brought sacred Kapilavastu relics of Vaskadua for an exposition. The inauguration of the new airport saw the attendance of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well. Following the opening, Prime Minister Modi engaged in religious observances at the site, which is believed to be the final resting place of the Buddha. The Buddhist conference scheduled to be held in Kushinagar for 3 days from today commenced thereafter under the patronage of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Buddhist monks from many nations including Sri Lanka will attend the conference. The Kapilavastu relics transported from Sri Lanka have also been taken to the location where the conference is being held.
सबका जीवन सुखमय हो, सबका कल्याण हो, मानव जीवन खुशहाली के मार्ग पर आगे बढ़े, यही काम.
I would also like to thank Honorable Prime Minister Sri Narendra Modi for extending a grant of $15 million to Sri Lanka to strengthen the Buddhist ties between our two nations. Your Excellency, I believe today that you have created history once again. By opening the doors to Kushinagar, Buddhists not only from Sri Lanka but from all over the world will be able to visit one of the most sacred sites in Buddhism.
भगवान बुद्ध की साक्षात उपस्थिति.
Environmental security is often spoken of at present. If we follow Buddhist teachings, we can obtain a clear vision on how to go about it. India's constitution is much imbued through Buddhist teachings. That is why we have included the Dhamma Chakra on our national flag.
Meanwhile, the sacred relics of Kapilavastupura deposited at the Rajguru Sri Subhuti temple in Vaskadua were handed over to the Sri Lankan High Commissioner to India, Milinda Moragoda, yesterday to be kept at an exposition. A group, including the Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, Gopal Bagle, attended the event where the relics landed in India.
This event puts Kushinagar, the place of the Buddha's Mahaparinirvana, at the center of the Buddhist circuit in India. It creates another link in the strong chain chain of people-to-people ties between India and Sri Lanka, in which Buddhism plays a central role.
A special photograph made out of murals at the Kalaniya Rajamahavihar is expected to be placed at the newly opened Kushinagar airport.
Meanwhile, Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa met with Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi today. In a tweet, Namal Rajapaksa said, quote-unquote, "The greatest gift Sri Lanka received from India is Buddhism." He had handed over the first copy of the English, Sinhala and Tamil translations of the Bhagavad Gita to the Indian Prime Minister. The scripture contains details on the way of life.
Today is yet another day which signifies the historic ties between Sri Lanka and India. It was on a day like today that King Devanampiya delivered an epistle to King Dharmashoka to obtain the southern branch of the Jayasri Mahabodhi. History records that a delegation led by Minister Aritta travelled to India to deliver the epistle. Wap full moon poet.
Let's now toss over to a short commercial break. Do stay with us first. We will be right back.
TV1 News First, main sponsor.
Students complete the ACBT University Entry Foundation in 8 months for 288,000 rupees.
Valuable Finance, best finance company.
COVID-19 සඳහා ආරක්ෂිත පියවර. නිතරම හොඳින් සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න. සබන් හෝ විසබීජ නාශක මධ්‍යසාරයක් භාවිතා කර දෑත් පිරිසිදු කරන්න. සැම විටම අන් අය සමග මීටරයක දුරස්ථභාවයක් පවත්වා ගන්න. හැකි සෑම විටම නිවසේ රැඳී සිටින්න. නිරතුරුවම නිවැරදිව මුඛාවරණ පළඳින්න. COVID-19 සඳහා ආරක්ෂිත පියවර. ජනයා වැඩි වශයෙන් සිටින ස්ථානයන්හි ගැවසීම මගහරින්න. රෝගය ආසාදිත පුද්ගලයන් හමුවීමට නොයන්න. මුහුණ, මුඛය, නාසය සහ ඇස් ඇල්ලීමෙන් වළකින්න. අනවශ්‍ය ගමන් බිමන් යෑමෙන් වළකින්න. මුඛාවරණය ඉදිරිපස ඇල්ලීමෙන් වළකින්න.
Welcome back to the news. We apologize for the technical difficulty caused earlier. With that, let's move on to some more news. Today is Wap Full Moon Poya Day.
Today is yet another day which signifies the historic ties between Sri Lanka and India. It was on a day like today that King Devanampiya delivered an epistle to King Dharmashoka to obtain the southern branch of the Jayasri Mahabodhi. History records that a delegation led by Minister Aritta travelled to India to deliver the epistle. Wap Full Moon Poya Day is a day which added many historic events to Buddhism. According to ancient scriptures of the Buddha Sasana, it was on a day like today that Lord Buddha concluded the Vas retreat and travelled to Sankasapura from the Tautisa paradise. He ended the retreat by descending near the gates of Sankasapura, where he preached the Dhamma to devotees gathered there. Chivara month will also commence from today's Poya Day. Therefore, Katina Chivara Puja will begin from today. Based on health guidelines issued in light of COVID-19, only a maximum of 50 devotees can attend a Katina Puja at once. Numerous religious ceremonies were organized island-wide today in light of Wap Poya Day, adhering to health guidelines issued due to COVID-19. Religious observances were held at several Buddhist religious sites, including the Temple of the Tooth, historic Ruanvali Saya sacred site, and the Galvihare religious site in Polonnaruwa with limited attendance. The religious sermon held on Poya Days at the Temple Trees was held even today under the patronage of Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The Sri Sadham Seta sermon was conducted for the 11th time today, which is organized at the opposition leader's office.
We are left to question whether people have a sense of shame anymore. Shame and fear are said to be attributes even deities possess. The world is in control because of these two attributes. According to the Buddha, development occurs when one reflects on his or her actions constantly, like looking in a mirror.
The customary puja held at the Shakya Malake opposite the headquarters of the Capital Maharaja Group was also held today, sponsored by Toughline.
In more local news, the first batch of liquid nano nitrogen fertilizer from India reached Sri Lanka today. 100,000 litres of fertilizer was flown to the country from Gujarat.
The batch of liquid nano nitrogen fertilizer reached the Bandar Naik International Airport at 12:30 a.m. It was dispatched from the Hyderabad International Airport. The Agriculture Department has placed an order for 3.1 million litres of nano nitrogen urea fertilizer. This would be used to cultivate 800,000 hectares of land for the Maha cultivation season. Officials attached to the Ministry of Agriculture were at the airport to accept the stock.
Earlier we applied nitrogen to the soil to obtain nitrate and ammonium. What is obtained from roots will be given through these leaves. When we use the liquid, it will reach the soil through the leaves. The nitrogen required to produce food can be obtained through this.
State-run Colombo Commercial Fertilizers Limited has imported the stock of liquid fertilizer to Sri Lanka.
This is not a special fertilizer that contains microorganisms. We have to conduct tests on the nutrients in this based on SLSI standards. Parasites aren't present in liquid fertilizer. There are no heavy metals. It is a recognized company in India that provides supplies to across the world.
The stock of liquid fertilizer was flown to the country on 44,064 bottles with a capacity of 500 millilitres. The fertilizer was officially handed over to the chairman of the Ceylon Fertilizer Company Limited at the warehouse of Colombo Commercial Fertilizers. The event was attended by State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa. Although a team of state officials, including the minister, had arrived at around 10 in the morning, the fertilizer was brought at noon. A spokesperson for the Agriculture Ministry said this was due to a delay while clearing the stocks from the Customs Department. The fertilizer was brought to the warehouse on 3 lorries after an 8-hour delay. State Minister Shashindra Rajapaksa handed it over to the chairman of Ceylon Fertilizer Company Limited.
We plan to distribute this to agrarian service centres from tomorrow. It's difficult to do something good. We can't do this alone. We will have to face many problems. We are requesting farmers to join us in this program.
Farmers staged protests in several areas today demanding fertilizer. The All Ceylon Farmers Federation and the Mahaveli Sea Zone Farmers Association organized a protest march in Dehiyattakandiya. They say that 40 kilos of the total fertilizer which we promised are in storage. It isn't the fertilizer which is applied during cultivation. Yesterday they said nano nitrogen fertilizer will be imported from India. We inquired into this and understood that it was manufactured by an Indian company 3 months ago. Where were the tests conducted on this? What are they trying to do by importing this? If Mahinda Nandaludgamake can't understand this, the president must understand it. The fertilizer problem was there during the Yala cultivation season. Harvest reduced because of that. There are more than 1 million paddy farmers in Sri Lanka. 25% of them aren't ready to cultivate. Their harvests have reduced. If we consider all these factors, we can understand that a famine can't be prevented. We wish to tell the government, which left farmers helpless, to reverse this decision. We wish to challenge the president to enter areas like Dehiyattakandiya as part of the Gama Samaga Pilisantara program. We wish to ask the president to accept this challenge. Farmers of Madatugama in Kakirava staged a protest at the Madatugama junction today. They were demanding fertilizer and chemicals. Protesters obstructed one lane along the A9 road running from Kakirava to Dambulla. We wish to ask the government whether nano fertilizer doesn't contain chemicals. Is it organic?
Did you conduct tests to identify whether it is harmful to the land or the people? A scientific test hasn't been conducted. If farmers can't cultivate, they won't be able to educate or feed their children.
අවතුමෝ බලාගනින් මේ තියෙන්නේ වයින් මේක මර්ධනය කරන්න බෑ වතුරෙන් මේ තියෙන්නේ බටදල්ල මේ තියෙන්නේ කුඩ මැට්ට මේක මර්ධනය කරන්න බෑ වතුරෙන් ඒක නිසා අමතිතුමෝ දැනගනින් මෙව්වා කවන්න ඉස්තරලා මේ ගොවි ජනතාවගේ දුක ගැන බලාපන්
The All Ceylon Farmers Federation and the Dimbulagala Farmers Association held a protest march in Aralagangwila. Farmers of the Mahaveli B zone attended the protest.
The Mahasangha is uniting for this because farmers have protected our lives. We have joined this struggle by understanding their problems. The day on which our lands would be given to multinational companies is not far off. The government is creating the situation.
Members of the Sri Lanka Pirojana Piramuna are accusing members of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party of being behind the protests by farmers. Both parties are among those which form the government.
This is what happened before 2015. There were conspiracies within the government itself. It would be better for those who can't remain here to step down. You know the destruction faced by our country due to conspiracies. We cannot allow this to continue.
The
Sri Lanka Freedom Party says they are trying to correct the government's mistakes while remaining in it. This is foolish. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party wants to destroy the government by enjoying perks, holding ministerial positions and offering vehicles to their children and spouses. As a backbench parliamentarian of the SLPP, which is facing pressure due to this while being the government's main party, I want to request to take disciplinary action against those two-faced SLFP members.
ශ්‍රී ලංකා නිදහස් පක්ෂය පිළිබඳ වහාම ක්‍රියාමාර්ගයක් ගන්න කියන ඉල්ලීම මා ඉතා පැහැදිලි ඉල්ලීමක් ඉදිරි කරනවා.
Meanwhile, Sri Lanka Freedom Party chairman Maithripala Sirisena responded to the issues of farmers today.
We must look into that. Nano Fertilizer is based on new technology. It is manufactured by combining the required raw material under a scientific process. Therefore, if it resolves the problem of farmers, that is what matters.
Former President Maithripala Sirisena made these views during an event to declare open the golden fence at the Sri Kettarama Viharya in Godagama. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa was also present. Opposition leader Sajith Premadasa visited farmers in Dompe after a religious ceremony in Homagama. He took part in a protest demanding fertilizer and pesticides.
Farmers mainly require fertilizer. Why is the government ignoring this and acting foolishly? Isn't this attacking the backbone of the country? This is a pineapple cultivated using organic fertilizer. It costs 50 rupees to cultivate a plant, but we cannot sell the fruit for at least 10 rupees. The fruits don't ripe. No one buys it. We understand some powerful figures in the government have said that farmers would be compensated if their harvest reduces. How can a government compensate farmers while facing a shortage of money and being unable to allocate money and resolve the problems of teachers? Under a Samagi Janabalavege government, we will provide sufficient fertilizer and pesticides to farmers. Poverty has increased as the cost of living has increased. The President, Prime Minister, Cabinet and the government parliamentarians have been unsuccessful. They have failed completely.
ආණ්ඩුවට සම්බන්ධ මන්ත්‍රී කණ්ඩායම සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම අසාර්ථකයි. සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම ෆේල්. ආණ්ඩුවට ඕන වෙලාවට නෙමෙයි පෝර ලබා දෙන්න ඕනේ.
Fertilizer must be given to the farmers when they need it and not when the government needs it. They want to give away these lands to foreign investors. Farmers are distancing from cultivation.
රටවට ලබා දෙන්න. ගොවි ජනතාව දැන් ගොවිතැනෙන් ඈත් වෙනවා.
A group of women staged a protest in Ambalanthota against the rising cost of living. As you have won the election, give us gas and flour. Our kids are in hunger. That's all we are asking you. The cost of living has skyrocketed. We are staging this silent protest, encouraging all women to join us in this struggle. Meanwhile, Venerable Muruthetwe Anandathera criticized the government's work plan today.
We had huge expectations that the country would be uplifted under the President's vistas of prosperity policy. We hoped that the country would move forward. But today, the country is facing a massive disgrace. We predict this would mark the end of the Rajapaksa rule. They often say that the Mahasangha must be responsible for this. This is their answer. We have no choice but to accept it. We are requesting Mahinda Rajapaksa to take over this country before the election if the Rajapaksa rule is to continue. I believe President Gotabaya won't oppose that. I feel if he opposes it, that would be causing damage to the country.
විරුද්ධ වෙනවා නම් එතුමත් මේක රටට කරන හානියක් කියන එකයි මගේ දැක්ම මගේ පිළිගැනීම.
මොහන්සලා මේ නොකියා කියන්නේ ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ වත්මන් ජනාධිපතිතුමාට මේක කරගෙන යන්න බෑ කියලාද?
ඒක දැන් පැහැදිලිව.
That has been proven. We don't need to say it when he himself has admitted it. If he doesn't have experience, he must hand over the responsibility to a person with experience.
බාර දෙන්න එපා.
දැන් එහෙම බාර නොදී මේ විදිහටම ගියොත් අපි හැමදෙරේ මොකක් වෙයිද රටට?
කොරෝනා වේසනේ අඩු වෙච්ච ගමන්ම
when the severity of the pandemic reduces and when travel restrictions are lifted, more people will take to the streets. We challenge them to conduct the provincial council election to please India. The people are saying they will respond harshly if they campaign for votes.
දෙන්නම් කොඹලට කවුද කියන්නේ? මේ රටේ ජනතාව.
On to another headline-making story. The Ministry of Education has decided to reopen schools with less than 200 students for the new school term from tomorrow onwards. Issuing a release, Minister of Education Dinesh Gunawardena said as a trustworthy solution was given to the teacher-principal salary anomaly issue, teachers and students coming to schools cannot be stopped by anyone.
Released, Minister of Education Dinesh Gunawardena says that the future of the children is not only the happiness of their parents but results in the happiness of the entire nation. Adding further, the minister said hundreds and thousands of children will step into school after a long hiatus. In the release, Minister Gunawardena says that teachers will come to school and the children will be able to see them in person for the first time in a long time. However, it has been already announced that a number of teachers and principal trade unions will engage in continuous strike action starting from tomorrow. These teachers and principal trade unions have announced that they will report to work next Monday, the 25th. Several teachers' unions claim that they still receive threats over the phone.
Minister of Public Security Sarath Veerasekara is using his intelligence units to threaten us. Some teachers have received threatening phone calls even this morning. Even I received such a phone call this morning. We are engaged in strike action on the 21st and the 22nd, but we will not mind the threats that they are making. We have decided to respect the rights of children and report to work on the 25th of this month.
Teachers' associations responded to the statement made by the governor of Northwestern Province today.
I will operate in the capacity of the Minister of Education here. I will take steps to suspend the salaries of teachers and principals who will not report to work tomorrow.
We highly condemn this statement that was made against all state officials in the Northwestern Province. Suspend our salaries for this month and see, we are ready to take all the necessary action. We are ready if the requirement is to surround the governor's office.
ගුරුවරුන්ගෙන් විදුහල්පතිවරුන්ගෙන් වටලා නනුන්නම් ඒකට අපි ලෑස්ති.
කවුරු මොනවා කිව්වත් අපි
No matter who says what, we will engage in a strike action tomorrow. We will only report to work on the 25th. Stop us if you can. We challenge you to stop us if you can.
ඕනම කෙනෙකුට අපි අභියෝග කරනවා පුළුවන් නම් මේ සටන නවත්තන්න.
රාජා කොල්ලුරේ ඉඳලා මතක තියා.
Raja Kollure, remember your place. If a single teacher is not allowed to report to work on the 25th, Raja Kollure can witness what will happen. We have nothing else to say to these people who sell their souls and do the dirty work of this government.
The Communist Party of Sri Lanka, issuing a statement today, said that some parties are making provocative statements and putting the positive situation at hand in jeopardy. The release, which has been signed by the General Secretary of the Communist Party, Dr. P. Veerasinghe, states that all threatening statements targeting teachers and principal trade unions are highly condemned by the party. The Communist Party of Sri Lanka states instead of threatening to suspend salaries and taking disciplinary action, the need of the moment is to rejuvenate the school system in unison. The governor of the southern province expressed his remarks regarding the statement made by Northwestern Province Governor Raja Kollure.
A governor of a province can make such statements and enact those statements. It is to be decided later whether taking such actions is suitable or not. Representing the southern province, I am of the stance that sometimes you do not have to be too stern. How can children be protected from the risk of contracting COVID-19 as schools reopen tomorrow?
Parents have the responsibility of training their children to wear face masks, wash their hands, maintain social distancing and avoid touching their face and hands unnecessarily. This has become a practice at schools. But parents must educate their children on the risks. They must caution them against doing that. To protect children from dehydration, parents must give their children at least a liter of liquid, including even water. They must encourage their children to consume it. We must take extra steps to protect children with illnesses.
Moving
on, the Navy has discovered the body of an Indian fisherman who disappeared off the coast of Kalangari.
The Navy had launched an operation on the 18th of this month. That was to arrest Indian fishermen poaching in Sri Lankan waters. Fishermen on a boat had collided on a Navy vessel while attempting to flee. The boat with 3 fishermen had then toppled. The Navy had rescued 2 fishermen. However, the body of another fisherman was found today. The 2 rescued Indian fishermen were produced to courts in Kites. They have been remanded until the 1st of November. 23 Indian fishermen who were arrested on the 13th of this month in Point Pedro are currently detained at a quarantine centre in Karenagar. The centre is run by the Navy.
2 teenagers were killed in a collision in Thanamalvilla yesterday.
A motorcycle had collided with a van while trying to overtake a lorry. It was travelling from Lunugahawehera to Thanamalvilla. 2 19-year-olds who were on the motorcycle had died in the collision. Police said they had ignored signals to stop in Lunugahawehera. Police officers had then given chase to the motorcycle for about 15 kilometers. Police said the teenagers didn't have a license or the required documents for driving. The drivers of the van and lorry have been arrested. The deceased have been identified as S.R. Laknuan and Naveen Lakshita Atapattu. They are residents of Udamattala in Tissamaharama. Our correspondent reported that they were involved in a project of the Road Development Authority. They had left their homes last night to purchase spare parts for the bike.
Police say they haven't been able to identify the body of a woman found on the bank of the Kalani River. Now, they haven't been able to match the body with the description of 5 women.
Crime Watch.
Did the woman die of drowning? Or is this a killing? These doubts prevail over the woman's death. Police said there is no sign of an attack on the woman, but a bruise can be seen near her knee. The police had recovered some cash from the woman, who is believed to have died 2 days ago. Details of a crime near the Kalupalame in Sedawata emerged on the 1st of this month. The husband of a Gramanildari officer in Samitpura in Matakulia had disappeared on the 17th of August. He had been killed and dumped into the Kalani River. Police had arrested 13 army intelligence officers in connection to the killing.
Crime Watch.
The central bank is looking at a proposal to allow people who can bring foreign exchange abroad to import vehicles and pay taxes in dollars.
Sri Lanka banned vehicle imports since March of 2020 to manage its already weak foreign currency reserves. The higher prices have supported loan recoveries from repossession in the near term, but may expose FLCs to unexpected sharp price corrections. This has caused surging demand for second-hand vehicles, inflating prices by around 50% depending on vehicle type.
The Central Bank of Sri Lanka has proposed a plan to the government to import vehicles paying tax in dollars. Now, how will this impact the country? Will the government accept this plan, or will the ban of importing vehicles still remain?
When the matter was raised at a press briefing recently, this was what the governor of the central bank, Ajit Niwad Cabral, had to say. As a Central Bank of Sri Lanka, one responsibility that is vested with us is to ensure the financial stability. If there is a price increase of a particular item or a number of items, and if it creates a bubble, we need to be mindful of that. Now we see that there is a bubble being created when it comes to this vehicle importation issue. That can cause some sort of danger to our economy in the future. Therefore, I believe if we can import vehicles using foreign currency and create a system to pay the taxes in the importation process using foreign exchange. By doing so, on one hand, we will get foreign exchange to the country, and on the other hand, we will get the vehicles to the country as well. We are hoping to inform this to the government in writing in the coming few days. We need to take such an approach in this situation. On the one hand, these vehicles are expensive, and on the other hand, there is a great requirement of vehicles in the country. So we will create a system so that foreign exchange will flow into the country. When you consider all aspects, this proposed plan seems favorable. As a central bank, we can propose this to the government.
Section
17(1) of the Customs Ordinance says all duties of customs as well as all penalties and forfeitures incurred under this ordinance shall be paid and received in the currency of the Republic of Sri Lanka and according to the units of measurements of the Republic. We cannot import another currency and introduce that currency to pay duty. It is not proper and legal to use US dollars for certain payments. Very hand-picked selected crowd will be able to sometimes get benefited from this type of arrangement.
Taking a look at some news overseas, North Korean state media confirmed that the country test-fired a new, smaller ballistic missile from a submarine, a move that analysts said could be aimed at more quickly fielding an operational missile submarine.
The statement from state media came a day after South Korea's military reported that it believed North Korea had fired a submarine-launched ballistic missile off its east coast, the latest in a string of North Korean missile tests. The White House urged North Korea to refrain from further provocations, with the spokesperson saying yesterday that the United States remained open to engaging diplomatically with North Korea over its weapons program. Pyongyang so far has rejected those overtures, accusing the United States and South Korea of taking diplomacy while ratcheting up tensions with their own military activities. Today, South Korean Foreign Minister called for Washington to ease sanctions if the North returns to talks. According to diplomats, the United States and Britain plan to raise the North's latest test during a UN Security Council meeting today. North Korean media said that the new type submarine-launched ballistic missile was launched from the same submarine involved in a 2016 test of an older submarine-launched ballistic missile. North Korea has a large fleet of aging submarines, but is yet to deploy operational ballistic missile submarines beyond the experimental Gore-class boat used in the tests.
Taking a look at some sports news, the Sri Lanka under-19 cricket team has won a 5-match series with 2 matches to spare against Bangladesh. The series stands 3-0 in favour of Sri Lanka. News here on TV1. For the News First team, I've been Miyuki Portia, along with our sign language interpreter Tharka Gabriel via Zoom. Take care and good night.